Welcome to Kicking It Local, hosted by me, Johnny Kecko. Every week I chat to different people in the football community in South Australia, and today I'm joined by the goalkeeper coach at Moss Goalkeeping and also the number one goalkeeper at the Adelaide Olympic in the NPL in South Australia, Lewis Moss. Thanks for joining me, mate.
Hello, Johnny. How are you?
I'm very good, mate. It's good to have you in the studio and chat to you because you're a big character in the NPL in South Australia. A lot of people talk about your banter on social media and love to have a bit of a laugh at what you have to say. And so I'm looking forward to chatting to you today in this episode.
All right. Well, I'll try and bring that banter to this episode if I can.
Oh, hopefully you can. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. I want to just get a little bit of an insight to what Lewis is like on Twitter. But I want to get through so much. Your goalkeeping academy, you just kicked off. Your career in the NPL, FFA Cup, but firstly, a lot of people I've spoken to have played Aussie rules as a kid growing up, but they decided to take on football, the world game, and continued on with that to become coaches, now full-time players. But for you, you started off in AFL, but also made your way into the newly founded at the time Gold Coast Suns in the AFL, and got yourself a 2-year contract over there.
That's right. Well, I didn't start in AFL. I actually started in soccer. I started here in Adelaide. My dad was the coach. I started when I was 4 in under 6s for Elizabeth Downs.
Wow.
I was with Elizabeth Downs for up until I was 9. Moved to Queensland and continued to play soccer until I was 14, 15. And then started playing footy.
Oh, nice. So, what made you just turn to football? Was there any influence from friends or?
Oh, well, I played footy at school with my mates, and it was basically friends that got me to play footy. But the reason I changed to footy is because I was an outfield player as a kid up until I was 13. I went in goals for my club team in a penalty shootout because I was the most athletic kid in my club. So they're like, we'll put you in the goals for the penalty shootout. And then a rep coach saw it and he's like, all right, I'm going to turn you into a goalkeeper. So I was a goalkeeper in my rep team, playing for the Cairns rep team in the state carnivals. And then I decided I don't really like goalkeeping that much. I'd rather run around and kick a footy. So I changed after 2 years to play footy because I enjoyed just running around with mates instead of standing there in goals.
Well, there you go. So you prefer to be out in the outfield with a lot more teammates instead of being lonely as a goalkeeper.
I guess so. It's just a bit more fun being able to run around and get the ball rather than stand there and wait your turn. Yeah.
So what was that opportunity like when you did get signed? Unfortunately, you never made your AFL debut, but you managed to be a part of that club that was the second club in Queensland in the AFL. What was it like for you to get that opportunity as an 18-year-old?
It was pretty crazy, actually. I didn't expect it because I'd only been playing for a couple of years before I got noticed at a under-16 national carnival. I got noticed by some, big wigs in the AFL, in the junior AFL academies. I got selected for the under-17 Australia sort of academy side, and then Gold Coast obviously noticed me from there. And then I got pulled out of grade 11, sent down to the Gold Coast. And was part of their development squad before they became an AFL team. So I was there from when I was 16 till I got cut when I was 20. So I was there for 4 years, 2 years as an AFL club, and 2 years before that when they were a development side.
Oh, wow. So then you get to experience what it was like for them to grow into a professional club. Yeah,
I was there on the ground level. So the first year they became a thing was the first year I got brought in there. I was there from the start and through the start of their short AFL life.
We always look at the people that made it to football and get into AFL and make it big, but unfortunately there's a lot of people like you in your position that don't ever get that opportunity, unfortunately, in that game.
Well,
how was that for you?
Yeah, so it was tough. I came into the system because I'm quite tall. I'm 195 centimetres, so 6'5". But I was
perfect for a goalkeeper.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it translates well. But I was only like 77 kilos when I got there at 16. So I was, a rake, basically. So I was thrown into the system with these professional AFL players, these big guys. And it was just a battle just trying to get my body up to the standard. And my body just couldn't quite handle the rigors of the AFL. So it was hard. It was just hard to compete with these guys that have been in the system for so long. So basically I just got chewed up and spat out of the system quite quickly because I just couldn't cope with it.
Jesus. But it seems like you've managed to turn that around. Is that what you aim to do? Like to try and, well, obviously at that time it's hard when you get chewed up and spat out, but for yourself, how long did it take you to recover from that and try and move on from it?
Not that long because, to be honest, at the end of it, I done so many soft tissue injuries. I struggled to stay on the park for more than 4 weeks at a time. I was doing hamstring after hamstring. I had osteitis pubis that put one season to bed basically. I really just couldn't get a string of games together. So at the end of it, I knew I was going to get cut because I hadn't got that debut. A lot of young players had. I knew my time was coming, so I'd sort of accepted it before it happened. And so I had really nowhere else to go but come back to Adelaide where my family lived. I just said to my dad, look, I can't play footy. It's not good for my body. I was a good goalkeeper as a kid. Maybe I'll try goalkeeping again and see how I go with that. And that's how I ended up.
So you came back. So you moved back to Adelaide. Got your gig playing locally in the NPL.
Well,
or not straight away though.
Not straight away. I went to West Adelaide. I had a trial at West Adelaide. They were in the State League 1 in 2013. Their coach at the time was Ross Aloisi.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Wow. I got a gig there, a trial there because my dad worked with the guy who was running the juniors, so that was the first club I went to. Ross thought I was all right, so that's how I got the gig. That's how I got the gig there.
Well, you just said, oh wow, with Ross Aloisi. So what was it like being coached by him? Because in the media, he's known to say stuff that a little bit controversial at times, and I've interviewed him in the past for another project, and I love chatting with him. He just says stuff and says it as it is. What was it like being coached and being underneath him?
Well, firstly, I love Ross.
Yeah,
he's probably the best coach I've had. He's a great guy, but he's a fiery character. And when I first got there to West Adelaide, he was great to me. He's a really nice guy, but when it gets to the soccer pitch, you know, I find this with a lot of Italians and Greeks. They're very passionate about their football. Very passionate. So there was times where I was shocked at the outbursts at half time. But he's just such a smart football brain that you can sort of put that to the side and you understand why he's like that. So playing under Ross, probably the best. That was probably the best thing for me coming from the AFL system to a guy that's basically a professional. So he understood where I was coming from and I understood where he was coming from. And that was probably the best thing about it.
Mate, as an Adelaide United fan, I love him and I think he's got that potential to be a full-time head coach soon as well. I think he could be the next in line for Adelaide United. But you got promoted with him. You've moved on now. You're now at another Greek club. You're at Adelaide Olympic. You've done some good stuff with them as well recently. You just made it to the FFA Cup in 2021. You got a round of 32. What was it like being a part of that cup? It's now the Australia Cup. It's a bit more, the name's got more history to it. I love that name for it. But what was it like being part of a competition like that?
It was good. So obviously you qualify for that through the Federation Cup. I didn't play much of the Federation Cup because I was injured. Niggles here and there. Played the final against Adelaide City, so we were already through at that stage. We had our first game. Was it the round of 32? Is it the round of 32 it goes straight into? Or is it?
Round of 32, you guys were in Perth.
I wasn't there for that one. I couldn't get work off, which is a bit of a travesty. That would have been fun to get away for a bit. Then we won that game. We came back and played against Adelaide United, which I'm sure a lot of people listening probably watched.
And if they didn't, that's the first time ever two Adelaide teams have met in the FFA Cup from the round of 32 onwards. And it was you guys and Adelaide United. You hosted. So it was great. I loved coming in there because that Greek music was playing. You had the charcoal barbecue going. It was a great vibe down there.
Sometimes that charcoal barbecue can be a bit of a distraction on the field when you're trying to goalkeep and you got smoke blowing across your face. But it's all part of what makes local football so great. Is is the cultures involved in it.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
And it's great for players like you, because before that, not many people had seen you play, because you played in the local leagues. There's NPL TV that people can watch, but the most A-League fans and even fans of the European clubs, they wouldn't really watch NPL TV as much as what someone like myself would or other local fans. But you got exposure on 10 Play. You're live on there, so a lot more people saw you, and I saw Twitter light up because the one thing that it lit up of was when you saved Ben Halloran's goal kick, a penalty kick. What was that like for you, having that moment where you had Ben Halloran lining up for the penalty and you pulled off an incredible save?
Well, I think doing my homework was the thing that helped me save the goal. In the last round, he'd hit exactly the same penalty. So I had a feeling he'd go in the same spot. And what most goalkeepers should do, they should try and figure out beforehand who's their penalty taker, where they go. So in terms of the stage, it being on 10 Play, none of that really affected me in the game. As soon as you're in the game, you sort of, none of that stuff really that matters that much. So it was just like playing another game. So that moment, it wasn't huge for me. It was just another save on another game of soccer. But seeing it blow up on Twitter was a bit funny. Something I didn't expect. But if it entertains people, then I'm happy to be a part of it.
And there's one thing I love watching from that penalty as well, and I've been watching it over and over again. I've mentioned it in the Dominic Chaprodi episode as well. Is when you poured the water onto the ball. What was your thinking behind that?
I'm always thinking of ways that I can get away with cheeky things to distract the penalty taker. That one, I sort of just had the bottle in my hand. I was like, well, what can I do? I'll just water the penalty spot and see if he gets annoyed at it. He ended up kicking the bottle out of my hand and getting annoyed. So I don't think it made much difference.
No.
People make...
It was entertaining.
It is entertaining. That's the thing. People seem to think that put him off, but it didn't put him off. He put it exactly where he was going to put it. It was just a little bit of fun. I like to have a little bit of fun during the games.
I think the game definitely needs more of that because that was great. You didn't do anything wrong.
Nah.
Some people were saying you should have got fouled for that, but I'm like, no, that was entertaining. We need more of that on TV.
Well, you can give me a yellow card. It doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't matter. You pulled off.
I don't mind.
You backed it up with a great save, and unfortunately, they ended up winning that game. But it was good to see a club like Adelaide Olympic doing so well in to get it to that far, rounds of 16. What do you feel with a thing like FFA Cup is doing for clubs in South Australia to further progress them? Is being in the game, have you noticed in the last 9 years the progression of local football since this National Cup and a bit more of that national competition has evolved?
Well, I think the standard's definitely gone up since when I came into the league. It sort of forces clubs to adopt a more professional mentality when you're being put into these professional competitions. And that's only a good thing for the game. That'll grow the game. So it'll lead the clubs in good stead when, say, a second division eventually comes in that we've been hearing about for years.
Apparently 2023.
We'll see. They've been talking about it for a while. But no, it's a great thing. It's good for the players to get exposure because it's hard getting noticed in these leagues for the A-League or clubs overseas. So it's only good for the players. It's good for the coaching staff to get their name out there as well. And it's good for the clubs. Good money for the clubs as well.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a financial wizard, but I'm sure it doesn't hurt hosting these games.
Yeah, I don't. Well, definitely through the gates. They would make a bit of money through those gates, unless it's at night time, because I know the lights cost a fortune at some grounds.
Well, I can attest to that because it seems like at training they've always got the lights on half power. Makes it hard to see, but whatever. If you've got to save money, save money.
Absolutely. But you're. So you had that opportunity playing against them, and so it's good for clubs. And I want to actually go back just a little bit because Ross Aloisi was your coach. Now you got to play against him because he was the assistant coach. So, well, in your reaction, there's probably not much in that because you probably didn't even realize it at the time, did you?
I did, but I wasn't really thinking about it that much. I just like to put on a show for Ross. I'm a bit salty at Ross. He did get me a trial at Melbourne Heart when when his brother was the coach.
Yep.
That didn't go very well. And then he moved up to Brisbane Roar with his brother. I still didn't get a look in, so it is nice to get, to show him what his teams are missing out on a little bit.
Well, that's all right. He didn't do too well over there, but he managed to do well. He's doing well here in Adelaide United with Carl Viet.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. Speaking of Carl Viet and Ross Aloisi, I love watching Adelaide United play. I love the youth they're bringing through the team.
Yep.
They're playing a fresh brand of soccer, and it's just something really. It's really good to watch.
Yeah.
To see these young boys come through and play exciting football, because with competing with AFL and NRL, not directly, but you sort of like one sport or the other.
Yeah.
And you need to have exciting football, especially at these grades. So I think they're doing a great job for the game.
Adelaide United youth, we've seen a lot of really good players coming out of the NPL that have come into Adelaide United squad. Most recently, he hasn't made his debut yet, but Kasumovic from Adelaide City. Yeah, and also we've got, he's a bit older now, 27 years old, but Lockie Barr as well. He's made his debut for Adelaide United, coming in as an injury replacement.
Yep.
But it's so good to see these local players being given the opportunity.
Yep.
And Adelaide United are seeing results from it as well, which is great.
Yeah, it's it's the easiest thing for Adelaide United to do.
Yeah, and cheapest.
It's cheapest because they can virtually just grab these players and for free.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Well, I think there's sometimes a little bit of transfer. I'm not too sure on how. Yeah,
but it's why not look in your own backyard? There's great players in these leagues that are ready for that, just like Lockie Barr. And you said he's 27, he's getting his opportunity. That's fantastic, because I wasn't surprised when he got that call up. He's a great defender, played against him a few times. And I'm just not surprised that these players can be taken from this league and compete in the A-League, because we've seen Adelaide Olympic do it at the FFA Cup.
Yeah.
We lost 1-0, we had our chances. There's not a huge gap between the two.
No, and it's good that I love what Adelaide United are doing with that youth, bringing them through. And that leads me into what you're doing now, because South Australia has produced some incredible goalkeepers, and also Adelaide United has produced some great goalkeepers as well. And I want to steer away from Adelaide United now, but we look into in the A-League, in the NPL, we got some ex-A-League goalkeepers that are playing. John Hall, Dakota Oshenham as well. But now, yourself, you haven't played in the A-League, but you're starting your own goalkeeping academy called Moss Goalkeeping.
Yep.
Very an original name. But what's your aspirations as a goalkeeping coach, and what do you want to get out of doing an academy?
I suppose I'm 30 now, so it's not old for a goalkeeper, but I've got to think about how I can stay involved in this game after I finish playing. So hopefully I don't finish playing too soon. But how can I stay involved? And I don't have many skills outside of football. I'm not a trained sparky or anything. I don't have a degree. But what do I know? I know how to goalkeep. I know how to teach goalkeeping, I think. We'll see.
We'll find out.
We'll see. So why not take those skills, the equity I've built in this competition, the people I've met, use some of that networking skills to develop my own goalkeeping sort of coaching business, and then pass on what I've learned to these kids, to these players on the fringes of first teams and reserves teams, and just see if I can get my foot in that door, and teach these kids what I've learned over the time. Yeah.
Has this always been something you've aspired to, or just come out like as you're just thinking about wanting to do something?
Not really, Johnny. I was just sitting there the other day thinking, geez, what am I going to do with my life? And I thought, well, hold on, what am I good at? There you go. All right, I'll try that. So literally 2-3 weeks ago, I was mulling around on the internet thinking, maybe I can teach goalkeeping. Yeah. I made an Instagram page, and it sort of started snowballing from there. Now I'm in it. Yeah. I've booked. I booked with an academy down south, Soccer by Design. Yep. With an ex-teammate of mine, Mitch Nicholson. I'm doing these kids there. I'm in the talks with another club to get some to go out and do some training with them, and I've also started my own academy, hosted at Adelaide Olympic.
Yep.
So, I'm in it now.
Yep. There's no going back.
There's no going back. So, I've had a few sessions already, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a PE teacher when I finished footy.
Yep.
Study wasn't for me. I can't focus on something for hours on end. So this is the best. This is the best thing I can do without actually going to uni for 4 years.
Yeah. Well, it's good though because you're teaching them the about the game, but from your experience.
Yes.
So it's a great way to do it, and I think you can go and learn from people that have gone to uni and they're book smart, but there's a difference from learning from a book and also going out, doing the hard yards, and then getting that experience and then passing it on. And I think that's what you've done, especially your 9 years in the NPL. In your time, and you've done your FFA Cup, been on that national stage. So you've seen that from your perspective. So it's good to pass it on to kids.
Yeah.
What's you're doing some training sessions at Adelaide Olympics. So what's their support been like for you?
Yeah, they've been great. I spoke to the president, Stavros. He said to me, "Look, we're happy to accommodate you however we can. Just maybe if you can do our juniors before you do your guys." So we've come to a little agreement where I train some of the Olympic juniors, and then after that, any boys that come in who want to do training on a Wednesday night, get some extras in, show their coach at their club that they're committed to getting better. Then I'm happy to do that, and I don't charge as much as some other goalkeeping coaches. So I think it's a pretty good deal. So just sign up,
mate. Well, we'll definitely plug it for you. Moss goalkeeping. It is. I love the idea of it because my little nephew, he's 7 years old at the moment, and also the 4-year-old. They both said they want to be goalkeepers.
Oh, really?
So I bought them gloves for Christmas, and they're very keen. So I've been looking for an academy. So Moss goalkeeping might be the option for him.
Might be down the track at the moment.
They're a bit too young
at the moment. I don't really have much time for the young goalkeepers, but I am looking to, after my season's over, when I've got a little bit more time. At the moment, I've got a kid at home, a little baby. I've got soccer myself, and now I've got this. I don't have heaps of time, but at the end of it, I'm looking to do a sort of a summer goalkeeping academy camp type thing. So that's still in the works, but that's something to look out for at my Instagram page, at my website, mossgoalkeeping.com.au.
mossgoalkeeping.com.au. There we go. So definitely get in touch with that. I love how players and coaches that leave the game and then start doing their own academies. We've got Marcello Karuska doing his own from LA United. Cassio, there's a few others as well that are locally as well, haven't been playing in the A-League. But it's good to see that, and it's just helps build the community. And just I like seeing that kind of stuff because you can go to local schools and do your academy, learn through that way. But there's nothing like learning from someone's experience. Exactly
right. And I was surprised with the amount of academies that there are. There's heaps. They've even got an academy league where they're playing against other academies. And it was surprising to me because I grew up in a small town in far north Queensland. So we didn't have that kind of stuff.
No.
So the kids are so lucky to be learning from ex-professionals outside their regular training. It's great for the development of these young players. It's good. And I'm happy to be involved in one down south with Soccer by Design. That's really cool. I love it, and hopefully we'll see you in the in that competition with Marcello Karuska's academy and all that. Maybe one day. We'll see. All 11 goalkeepers out there on field. Is that how it'll work? Or well, maybe. Who knows? Hey, I love you've made a few jokes throughout this chat so far, but on Twitter you add a lot of banter. For those that don't know, they call it soccer Twitter. Where people, soccer. It's SOKKAH Twitter, which is a lot of banter online. And I think you get involved in that in a bit. And you would say so? Just a little bit. It's too tempting. It's too tempting to just. That's one of those things about Twitter is it can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. I try to make it fun.
Yep.
Some people might take it a bit too serious, but I like to have a little bit of fun on it.
What's behind it? Like, why do you love stirring the pot?
I'm not sure that I'm trying to stir the pot. Recently, I've probably been on a little bit of a campaign trying to get the Football South Australia to feature a little bit more goalkeeping highlights. It's very goal striker orientated.
I did see you mention that on Twitter.
We don't get much of a spotlight, us goalkeepers, and if we do, it's a mistake by a goalkeeper that's played on other local podcasts.
Yep.
So I just want.
You want yourself to be on their social media, is that right?
I don't mind. Any goalkeepers, just put them on there. We got the hardest job in the game.
Yep. You just want a bit more.
The most thankless job in the game. I just want them to be celebrated a little bit more. It's a goalkeeper union, but at the end of the day, and we want to be, celebrated.
I love it. I love it. I love how you try and stir it up a little bit with some of your comments. But hopefully we do see a bit more of the goalkeepers on their highlights, and also we'll see a little bit of you on there as well. Hopefully, is that what you want? Is that the main thing you want to get yourself out there?
I don't. I should probably care about marketing and building a brand, but I don't really care about that. I just want to see any of the goalkeepers, get a highlight every now and then.
Maybe you need to pour some more water on penalty spots to try and get your.
I'm going to try. I've been cooking up my next idea for when there's a penalty against me. So.
Oh, nice. Can we give a little bit of hint, or?
No, I'm not going to give you a hint, but you'll see. You'll see when our team gives away a penalty. You'll see what happens.
All right, done. I can't wait. I'm going to keep my eyes on that. NPL TV. Just make sure you watch that, because Adelaide Olympic, got to keep an eye on that. Mate, if you want to keep up to date with all this stuff as well, Lewis_Moss on Twitter, and you can have a bit of a laugh and see what he's doing with the Moss goalkeeping as well. Yep. Hey, before I let you go, I'm going to do some kicking it questions. You're obviously a crosser because you listen to a couple of the shows.
Sure do. Big fan.
So big fan.
I'm a big fan. I love podcasts.
Yep.
I'm so happy that there's now, I think, 2 local podcasts. We've got the NPL Pep Talk.
Yes.
And we've got Kicking It Local. I'm a truck driver, so I'm driving all day. What am I going to do with my time? Listen to podcasts. Nice. Now we've got 2 great podcasts, and it's exciting to see.
Now you mentioned it, NPL Pep Talk is a very funny one to listen to.
It is a funny one.
Yeah, I love it.
They're funny boys.
They're very good. So it's good to have that voice in the game. And just before we move on to kicking it questions, what are you having podcasts like this and NPL Pep Talk? What's that for me personally? I think I know what it's like for the game to have that now. But what, as a player and someone in the game, what is it like for you to have people talking about the game?
It's great. Any exposure for the game is good because we want to grow the game.
Yep.
We want more juniors playing. We want this game to be successful. We love this game. We want more people to play this game. The more people talking about it, it's at the forefront of people's minds. And that's what you want. I think that's what branding is. That's what marketing is. Yep. You want it to be there. You want it to be tangible. I don't know what else you want it to be.
Yeah, that's it. More people talking, the better. So
the more people talking, the better.
It's great. And mate, kicking the questions. Let's go straight into this. Which footballer would you love to have a kick with? Anyone in the world?
Now I've had time to think about these, obviously, because I'm a listener.
That's great.
Who I'd want to have a kick with? I would like to have a kick with Hector Bellerin, ex-Arsenal player.
Yep.
I like him because he's an ex-Arsenal player.
Yep. But
I love what he stands for. He's a man of human rights, animal rights. He's just the kind of person I like and I'm drawn to. And he's a good player as well.
Nice. I like the bit of background behind it as well. I appreciate that.
No worries.
Hey, mate, and the last one, name 2 people that you would love to kick back with and have a bevy with or watch some football with. Yep. And just keep in mind the Barney Smith one. He did mention you.
Yeah, I know. I've been mentioned in the last 2 podcasts. I'm not sure why, but thank you, boys. Sorry, Barney.
No, you wouldn't.
Sorry, Barney. Yes, okay, I'll say Barney, but also an ex-teammate of mine, Costa Zacharopoulos. He's a goalkeeper. Everyone seems to know Costa, but I would like to hang out with him at a game because he laughs at everything I say.
Yeah.
He's just so polite. He'll just laugh at anything I say. I'll say the dumbest things. He'll just laugh at it. It makes me feel good. So with him and
Need someone like that.
exactly. Well, yes, exactly.
I do that for myself. I just laugh at my own jokes.
Me too. And someone from the greater football community. Probably my dad would kill me if I didn't say Arsene Wenger.
Yep.
So I've listened to him speak before. I love listening to him speak.
Yeah.
That's the other person I'd like to
Nice. There you go.
chat with at a footy game.
I like those two. And so no Barney? You wouldn't, or would you go hang out with Barney if he invited you?
I've never spoken to Barney in real life. I've shaken his hand after a game.
Just the banter online, because he's another funny one as well.
Yeah, he is. He's a
Which is all goalkeepers that are really funny. So
yeah. Well, there you go.
yeah.
Well, we got to try and stand out somehow.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one thing I've noticed as well, I've featured a lot of goalkeepers on my podcast already. With well, you're the only current one, but I've had current coaches that are former goalkeepers as well. So there we go.
Well, like Barney said, goalkeepers, they're always watching the game, so they know how the game works.
Yep.
That's why they make good coaches. So who knows? Maybe I'll be a coach one day.
Hopefully you heard it here first. Mate, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. And keep the banter going on Twitter. All
right.
Everyone loves it.
I will.
Cheers.
Don't you worry. More banter coming soon.
Awesome. And make sure you check out Moss Goalkeeping as well to get your kids involved in the local game. And thank you for joining me, Lewis.
Thank you, Johnny.
That was Lewis Moss from Adelaide Olympic. Make sure you subscribe to Kicking It Local wherever you get your podcasts so you can get a taste of the SA football community. Plus, follow at Kicking It Local SA on Instagram and Twitter so you don't miss any of the action. See you soon.